What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm very excited to just talk to you guys about brands that I would never pay full price for. You guys know those brands, some of them where it's like, ooh, that looks really cute, but I'm gonna wait for a sale. Ooh, that really looks really cute, but it's not worth it. Stuff like that. And so I figured it'd be really cool to talk about a video all about brands that I would say to wait until some form of discount, because 9 times out of 10 the discount will be happening within like a couple of months. And even though on makeup YouTube that means pretty much 2 years, in the reality of it, you know, you can wait a couple of months to get something, you know. So with that said, if you're interested in hearing about 10 of these brands that I want to talk about, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so in case you are wondering, this look was recorded, specifically the eye look, and it will be in Wednesday's video. So stay tuned. I will have it linked down below when my Wednesday video goes live. So if you're watching this after the fact, it probably will be linked down below. Now, I feel like just to kind of get us into the vibes of where my mentality was when I was creating this list, right? There are certain brands where I just decide I think the products are too expensive, so I'm just not going to buy them full price. Also, there are a lot of brands that have affiliated codes or links. I say shop through them. In my perspective, it makes sense. Even if you're like giving money to somebody that you don't even know who is an influencer, at the end of the day, if I can get money off, your girl's gonna do it, okay? And then additionally, I want to say that there are a lot of these makeup brands, because I am focusing on makeup brands with this video, that are actually being sold at a variety of retailers. And at some of those retailers, they are more adapting when it comes to the inflation. And so they're more willing to actually do more sales than maybe like the brand's website. Although there are a lot of brands' websites, in my perspective, that are actually doing a lot better than some of these more retailers. So I would always say shop around. If there's a product that you're interested in picking up, look to make sure that it is not being sold cheaper at a different place. And even if you don't want to buy through a third-party retailer such as like a Mercari or a Poshmark, I'm sure there is somewhere else that the product is being sold that either does more frequent sales than where you're buying it from, or actually has like affiliated codes or something like that. If you're wondering, for me, I always do have my affiliate codes and links down below. But you know, no pressure. I'm really not that person that's going to say you have to buy through my, I don't have time. So that said, let's get into the list. Of course, first brand that I thought of when I was thinking about this list, I'm sure you guys are thinking about them too, Urban Decay. It has honestly become a joke at this point, the amount of times that products from Urban Decay go on sale and how quickly they go on sale. In my opinion, you should never buy anything full price, nothing at all. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's generally going to be at least 30% off within like a month. Specifically their eyeshadow palettes, their kind of base products and everything else, it does take a little while for those to go on sale, and those don't go on sale as frequently because they don't kind of overhaul those sections as much. But if there's an eyeshadow palette that Urban Decay releases, if you just wait a couple of months, I promise you, you will be able to get it at least 30% off. Next is Pat Mcgrath. I feel like she has been doing this lately, like the last kind of year and a half. She has been doing quite a few 30% off sales. As of me recording this video, she currently has a 30% off sale. And your girl went on her site. I did. I went on the site, I built a cart, and there was one product that I wanted. I wanted to kind of do, get quite a few of her complexion products, because I've never tried her complexion and I've drastically reduced my foundations. So I felt like, let's go for it, right? Well, she did not have the shade that I really wanted in the concealer, and I wanted to just go ahead and make one big purchase on her website. I didn't want to kind of do this piecemeal thing situation, so I decided not to pick it up. If they happen to restock the concealer when she's still doing the 30% off, then that's another story for another day. But as of right now, I decided not to. And back to like the actual purpose of this video, when it comes to Pat Mcgrath, she does a 30% off sale, or at least up to 30% off at least once a season minimum. At this point, it's feeling like it's more twice to 3 times a season. So I just strongly, if you're not an influencer, and honestly, even if you are an influencer, I'd say just wait. Like, it's not that deep. Wait a couple of months, a month or so, and there's a sale, because a lot of people went ahead and picked up her blushes when they launched, and this wasn't even a month, I think it was like a couple of weeks later, and she had another 30% off sale. So that's my opinion when it comes to Pat McGrath. I love her products, the products that I have thus far, but it just doesn't seem worth it. When you're going to provide me that sale, why not get all of the products on that discount, you know? So the next brand is actually a new brand to me. I only have one product from them, and it is a product that a YouTuber that I follow has always raved about, and I decided I really wanted to try it out because, like I said, I've been kind of doing really well with my foundations, and I wanted to test out another foundation and potentially, you know, have another foundation in my collection. And this is Jensa. I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to this brand. I do believe they are an Asian based brand. Don't quote me on that though. And what I will say is that they are actually currently, or at least very recently, had a 50% off sale, the whole website. 50% off. And what did my boo-boo to fool self do? I bought the foundation full price. Never again will I buy anything off their website unless it is 50% off. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, their brand isn't, I feel like, as hyped up enough, and I also just don't find that their products, don't get me wrong, I've definitely enjoyed the foundation since I've got it. Definitely have been enjoying it, but I also could have waited that month since I made the order to get it 50% off. So once again, another brand that I would highly recommend if you were interested, or even if you weren't but you kind of thought, oh, I hear a lot of people raving about their products. 50% off sale, sis. Wait for it. It's worth it. It is definitely worth it in my opinion. The next is Ofra. So at one point, Ofra had an obscene amount of influencer codes that were 30% off. I don't really know what's going on with that, because I think when the CEO stepped down because of his shenanigans, I think those codes kind of disappeared. I truly don't know. But what I will say is this: I still will not pay full price for Ofra. At that point, you've already told me that your products can be sustained and your business can be sustained with 30% off of the top. So at that point, my mentality is, until I get that 30% off from your brand specifically, I'm not clocking for you. And I will say, I don't think I've seen a 30% off sale lately, but in my perspective and in my opinion, Ofra's products, although they are really good, are not something that I cannot live without until that sale, if that makes sense. So for me, Ofra is definitely another one of those brands where if I continue to see you providing that sale, that's telling me that I really should only be paying whatever that sale price is. Next is One Size. So I don't know how many people are really clocking for One Size. I feel like there are quite a few products from this brand that have kind of gone viral or been really, really talked about, such as their tinted moisturizer, their foundation base, whatever that is, their pressed foundation powder, and also their 3-panned cheek products. Those are kind of some of the products that I've heard a lot of people really raving about. I guess people have talked about the concealer, but not people that I particularly follow and that I tend to have a very similar outlook in products about. Regardless though, I have seen so many 25% off advertisements on Instagram when it comes to One Size that I will never buy anything full price. Specifically, I will never buy anything from Sephora for that brand. I will just wait until they do a sale, and as long as I have the money and the urge to pick up from them, I'll just pick up from the brand's website. For me, a lot of times, these retailers, as I kind of hinted at before, they'll give you a sale, but it won't even be half of what it will be on the actual brand's website. Another brand that I just thought about, they're not even on my list, is Fenty Beauty. Fenty does a lot of 30% off sales. I love it, right? Because there are some products that I do enjoy from her brand, and although I don't tend to pick up something every time she does a sale, I do appreciate the amount of times that she does sales. Right now, money is tight for a lot of people, right? And so we can't really give you that money. You're already a billionaire. So why don't you give us a discount so that we can still support you, but in a cheaper way, a more manageable way? You feel me? So regardless though, the main brand that I wanted to talk about was One Size, because they do a lot of Instagram ads, but Fenty also does a lot of 30% off. So that's just like a bonus, because that definitely was not on my list, although I should have put her on the list. Sigma Beauty was the next one that I wanted to talk about. Now, Sigma Beauty, I feel like historically has not done a lot of 30% off sales, but I feel as though in this last like 2 months, they have done a lot of 30% off sales, whether it was through like an influencer's code or just organically on the website. And that is hinting to me that once again, you can sustain your business giving me 30% off, and also maybe your products are only worth that 30% off price. And no disrespect to Sigma, because I have enjoyed their products for years. Their brushes are staples in my collection, and I am now slowly getting into their makeup. But at the same time, for me, once again, if you're going to continue to provide me that discount, that is a red flag in my head that I will never buy full price from your brand again. And, you know, I think that's a win-win, hopefully. But, you know, for me, it's a win-win. Another brand that I wanted to talk about is Viseart. Now, I don't think Viseart actually does a lot of sales on their website, but one of their main retailers is actually Muse Beauty Pro. And Muse Beauty Pro does quite a lot of discounts. Specifically, I feel like at least twice a year, they do some pretty major discounts, specifically on Viseart. And at that point, Viseart doesn't come out with a lot of palettes or even a lot of products in the year. And so for me, I can wait until, you know, the biannual discount that Muse Beauty Pro does to pick up products. So that's kind of why I put them on this list. I find that Muse Beauty Pro tends to do, I want to say, at least 30% off of Viseart products, and it kind of depends on how old or how new the actual palette is, but they do some really nice discounts, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to pay full price when I can get you for a cheaper price and still enjoy your product. Okay. Next is Mel Cosmetics. Now, once again, Mel Cosmetics is one of those brands I feel like that is now jumping on the horse of like giving us a lot of discounts because of inflation, because of COVID, and then ultimately because I feel like they just have been over requesting products from their suppliers. For example, the Mariposa palette, I did end up, I think, picking it up on a discount, but months later it was on like an even bigger discount. I want to say it went up to like 50% off. The two palettes that I most recently picked up from the brand, which were their Gemini palettes, I got them on like a double discount. At this point for me, Mel Cosmetics, I will never buy full price. Even I can remember years ago, their eyeliners were kind of a similar situation where I would refuse to buy their eyeliners unless they hit a certain price. I'm kind of getting to that point when it comes to their eyeshadow palettes. And for me, once again, it just makes sense. It's good business for me and my wallet. You feel me? So two more brands left, and they're actually both Black owned. The first one I want to talk about is Colored Rain. Colored Rain, I feel like, has historically always done quite nice discounts, and I wouldn't say that I was ever kind of rushing to pick up products from them. Maybe at the very height or the beginning of my makeup journey, just because they were one of the first brands that I heard about, and they were quite heavily hyped at that point, right? So I started using makeup 4 to 5 years, maybe 6 years at the longest ago. And so it hasn't been all that long. And at that height, they were really hyped because the Queen of Hearts palette was pretty much the big daddy cheese when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, right? And so since then, Colored Rain, I don't think has ever really been able to follow up that hype and continue to sustain it. They had their like Cheers to Beauty. A lot of people didn't really like it because it had that stupid highlighter in the palette. It made absolutely no sense. I ended up depotting that whole palette. Then they've had like a couple other products, but just none of them really hit the hype bar that the Queen of Hearts palette did. And so I think the brand, to kind of sustain their sales, have had to learn to slowly infiltrate a lot of sales throughout the year. And for me at this point, I'm going to continue to see that, and I'm going to just wait. The last eyeshadow palette that I picked up from the brand, I did not like because I felt like the shades lied to me. Everything lied to me. Formula wise good, blendability wise good, fine, whatever. But when I look at a palette and when I look at swatches and I'm expecting one thing and I get another, highly disappointed. And that was my problem with the Colored Rain products. Regardless though, back on topic, for me, this brand has started to do a lot of sales, and so that's just another reminder to me, okay, you want to do all these sales? I don't need to pay full price then. Thank you and good night. And then the last brand that I want to talk about is actually a brand that I'm not currently shopping from, but I still find that this is a brand that you can find on discount through all of their retailers and the main brand's website, and that's Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place does a lot of like 50% off sales, if not 30%. They don't really do anything less than 30% in my opinion, but they do a lot of sales. Annually, regularly, monthly, they do a lot of sales. Additionally though, one of their biggest retailers from what I know is actually Ulta Beauty, and Ulta Beauty is constantly putting their products on sale, if not for the 21 days of beauty, just randomly. And so for me at this point, if and when I do continue to pick up from Juvia's Place again, I would say that I'm not going to buy full price. I will say their lashes look really nice. They look very similar to the Lily lashes that I absolutely adore, but that's another topic once again for another day. Once I would just say that Juvia's Place is just another one of those brands that I would just never pay full price if and when I do decide to pick up products from them again. So yeah, that was 10 brands that I would definitely recommend waiting until you get that discount. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think at least if you can get something around 20%, that's not bad. Most places that's at least covering your sales tax, if not a little bit of shipping, depending on, you know, how much the brand is requiring of shipping, especially right now, because a lot of brands clock that. A lot of brands have actually started to no longer offer free shipping options, and you actually have to pay for shipping now, which it's hurtful. It's actually hurtful, but I also understand because, you know, they have to stay afloat. But regardless though, I just think that this is important to talk about because a lot of people maybe don't know these brands are some brands that they should just chill on and wait, and also chill on for the right price. Chill on till they give you that lowest price that you can possibly get, and then go ham. Pick up everything that you want. That way you're getting the best bang for your buck, and you're also hopefully being smart about, okay, just because it's 50% off, I'm not going to buy everything and anything in between. I'm only going to buy the things that I want, so that I'm only bringing in the things that I'm actually going to use. So that's that. I also might end up doing a video where it's kind of the antithesis of this, where I talk about brands where I feel like you have to buy full price because they pretty much never do a sale. Let me know down below if you're interested in hearing that video. And with that said, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.